St. Croix County, into Polk County. We are not going to be looking at just severe weather to our west. We'll see this continue to progress farther eastward. And John, do you have any updates of any confirmed tornadoes or still radar indicated from what I'm seeing?
I don't have any updates. I'm looking at the radar though, but the winds are increasing on the radar here and showing these winds possibly up to 90 miles per hour now. Again, that could be off the ground, but that is over northern sections here of Minneapolis up into about that would be the Andover, Ramsey area, and over to Lino Lakes and Blaine. So
okay.
right in this area. So when I say that the wind's aloft, it just means the winds maybe 1,000 feet off the ground are at 90 miles per hour because they're not in the friction level. But keep in mind, this is heading toward Forest Lake. This is headed toward Lino Lakes. That's the 35E, 35W split. And the radar is just looking worse and worse as this moves toward that direction. Worse meaning that the winds are just looking incredibly high for straight line winds. I know there's power outages. I'm trying to check on that and see if I can get you a list of that. But you can see we have 2 active tornado warnings right now: Ramsey County, Southern Washington County, and then also, of course, that Dakota County tornado warning.
Southern one. And Dakota, that's in place here till 8:45 or 9, John. Do we have that in place till? Has it been extended till 9?
Let me take a look on that one.
I know the northernmost is till 9 as well. Definitely incredibly strong winds throughout the segment, not just where we've seen some of the rotation in place. And this will continue to track farther eastward. You notice as you head farther eastward of where the the tornado warning is in place for Dakota County. As you head farther eastward from that point, you notice there are already severe thunderstorm warnings in place. So the National Weather Service, knowing that this is going to be a major wind event, especially as this continues to progress farther eastward. And certainly we still could see some rotation embedded within this cluster of storms. It could likely be weak rotation, and we could be at some point here in the next half hour to an hour transitioning more into a wind event. I will say any rotation along this segment of storms that's moving through the entirety of central Minnesota and south central Minnesota, any of that rotation, you're not going to see it. So don't wait around looking for it. Get to your basement. Be safe. Any rotation is going to be rain wrapped. We have very heavy rain with these storms. We're working with a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. So you are not going to see rotation out your window. You just want to be safe and get to a basement. And John, you're circling some of...
I have some updates for you here. Wind damage to trees in Brooklyn Park is being reported. There's a tornado warning in Dakota County with that rotation, and a new tornado warning has been issued here. This is going to be down south of the Twin Cities, Blue Earth County and Waseca County. So that's going to be the Mankato area, and I'll get to that here momentarily. And so again, we've got another tornado warning. This is the new one right here.
John, full too, if we could.
Over Waseca, so it's east of Mankato. So Mankato, you're in the clear, but if you're in Owatonna, heads up here that there's a tornado warned storm that is heading that direction. So we have that to the south of the Twin Cities, and any of these storms here can also produce very high straight line winds as well. But we'll take this back up to the metro. We have 2 tornado warnings until 9 o'clock. One is over Dakota County, and the other here is over Anoka and Ramsey County. And we're seeing very strong winds on the leading edge of these storms and torrential rainfall as well. But if you're in the area here around Lakeville and Farmington, there's rotation in this area here. So that is heading toward the city of Hampton and just to the south of Rosemount and Coates. And then we're seeing what's probably large hail here falling across, that would be West St. Paul, and then going into South St. Paul and Inver Grove Heights. And then as we go north, again, we're seeing some hail and heavy rainfall here that could be causing some street flooding with that heavy rain there from Blaine stretching down to 694 in the Fridley, New Brighton area. And also on the leading edge of this, we could have tornadoes, or we could have winds in excess of 70, 80 miles per hour moving into the Lino Lakes area.
And John, speaking of that wind threat, we're starting to get a better idea with power outages from the impacts of these storms, especially to our west, where the storms have already rolled through. So we're going to send it over to Paul Folger to get a better idea of some of those power outages.
Yeah, Ren, we were talking about 40,000 people are without power at the moment. moment. So you want to make sure you got power right now. Make sure you check your batteries in your flashlights, because if you lose power, it's, we are headed into the darkness. So it's going to be a long evening for you. So make sure that you are ready for that. Again, hearing that we have nearly 40,000 power outages. And guys, we've said before, as this storm moves in, you want to make sure you've got a place to go. If you have power, go ahead and get your phone plugged in, get as much juice in it as you can, and get to those low levels. Make sure there are no windows. Let's go out live to St. Paul right now. I want to show you what's going on. Just look at this heavy rain just coming down in buckets right there. You can see as we take a look, there's still some folks out on the roadways, and that's not really the place you want to be. We can tell you that the blue and green lines, they are on hold due to the weather right now, so we'll let you know when those get back up and running as well, guys.
Well, one of those things to mention, too, while you're looking at this rain, if you encounter flooded roadways, you do not want to drive through them. Only 6 inches of water can take away a moving car. And we're starting to see a lot of the heaviest rainfall, and we also do have another tornado warning that's to the east of Mankato, southeast of Mankato by about 22 miles. Before I get into some of the flooding concerns, I'll briefly talk about this. This is also radar indicated, tracking northeastward at 50 miles per hour, so slower. There's that rotation that John's showcasing there. The track northeastward at 50, radar indicated. You do want to seek shelter if you are in Blue Earth and Steele County, but we're also going to be looking at, again, damaging winds, which extend well south of this warning. So this is not just a concern for the metro. I know we're talking a lot about the metro, but we're still looking at significant severe weather across south central Minnesota, southwestern Minnesota. You're through it at this point, but south central and southeastern Minnesota. If we do zoom into the metro and you're cut out, I do still want you to know that severe thunderstorm warnings, especially with damaging winds, are your main concern. I'm a little more concerned about flooding across much of the Twin Cities due to impervious surfaces. And with such heavy rainfall moving through right now, we could start to see some localized flooding. I would not be surprised. I would be concerned, but I would not be surprised if we start to see a couple flash flood warnings through the metro. So keep that in mind. I know we're focused more on the rotation, tornado warnings, as well as damaging winds, but we certainly have a flash flood risk as well. Localized flash flooding is possible, especially in core metro county areas towards more so eastern Hennepin and Ramsey County, but certainly we could continue to see flooding elsewhere as well.
And Ren, one thing you can see right now is the center of this whole complex of storms is up around St. Cloud right now. I'll draw where that is right now here. It's just around St. Cloud. Yeah. So what we're getting with this is there's a lot of wind shear here, creating a lot of wind on the northeast side of this. What we have to watch for it with these thunderstorms to the south is these could be the tornado storms here stretching from really about St. Paul down to Owatonna. So those are the ones that we have to watch for the tornadoes. And then we're getting the straight line winds here on these north side storms. But you can see the center of that storm right there to the southwest of St. Cloud. So once this severe weather clears the Twin Cities, and that should happen by 9:30, then we're just going to be in heavy rainfall. But there could be some rainfall amounts too as well, greater than 4 inches, which is going to cause some localized flooding. So just be concerned about that too as the system moves through. The worst of the wind and the tornado threat is now, and for the next really about 45 to 60 minutes in the Twin Cities, and then that will clear, and then we'll just have rain, and it'll be a much calmer evening, but quite a bit of lightning too as well we'll be dealing with out there.
And John, I do have a brief update. It's for the same tornado warning that's in place for Anoka and Ramsey County. That has been continued. It now doesn't incorporate Hennepin from what I see. That is still in place till 9 p.m. So the National Weather Service has continued that warning. We still have 20 minutes left of that tornado warning. You do want to seek shelter. This is radar indicated, but capable of producing a tornado located near Ham Lake, about 20 miles south of Cambridge, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So one of the main differences with what John's showing you here right now, earlier when that was first warned and incorporated parts of Hennepin County, it started towards Brooklyn Park. We drew a track with a speed of about 65 miles per hour. This has slowed down a little bit, but is still very significant. I mentioned that slowdown because with the sort of rainfall we're seeing and the sort of wind, damaging winds we're seeing as well, that sort of slowdown, if we see that that trend in areas could lead to a greater risk for flooding as we're seeing heavy rainfall in those same areas. But John's showing where that warning is in place, still in place till 9. The National Weather Service has removed again the western part of the warning that was in Hennepin County, but this is still in place for Anoka and northern Ramsey County. That warning in place till 9. We still also have that southernmost warning that's in place till 9, and that incorporates Dakota County. They did remove the western part of that warning, but still very heavy rainfall, radar indicated tornado possible. John's highlighting here these rainfall estimates that are up to about 4 inches in rainfall, and we're still, of course, continuing to get those as this moves through the metro area. But you can see if we see 4+ or just even 4 inches of rainfall in parts of the downtown area, we will see some localized flash flooding. John, can we zoom back into this track here quickly?
Sure.
Towards Anoka? I didn't get to delineating some of that track for people here. And again, that has slowed down, still tracking northeastward, but at 50 miles per hour instead of 65. So by about 9 p.m., this is headed towards Wyoming, an area that unfortunately dealt with severe weather just on Monday, and again towards Forest Lake by about 8:57, Wyoming closer to 9 p.m. At this point, we still have 3 tornado warnings in place, 2 in metro counties and 1 farther southward, just to the southeast of Mankato. And again, this warning is in place till 9 p.m. Are you seeing much in terms of rotation here at this point, or is this more of a wind threat, do you think, John?
Well, it's more of a wind threat, but it's kind of bowing out here in the Hugo area. So Hugo up to about Forest Lake, it's right in this area that it's bowing out, and that's sometimes when you get those fast-moving tornadoes, they could be in that area. So that's approaching Interstate 35 north of the 35W, 35E split there. That's what I'm seeing as far as wind, and that is, again, in the north side of the Twin Cities. There's been a lot of hail reports, too.
Northeast.
Just want to bring that in.
I was just about to ask you, actually.
Yeah, some large hail has fallen across Dakota County here, and we can take a look at that, too, here in just a moment. And that could have caused some damage as well. The hail has been between 1 to 2 inches in diameter here, so that you're talking about golf ball size hail in some places here, so that's pretty significant as well. Let me just take this off and show you where that hail is. Okay, this is showing some of the hail. And this is pretty significant hail that is going through South St. Paul at the moment here. Let me take the watches and warnings off here so we can get some sizes on this. So that's going to be showing hail. Look at that, almost 2 inches.
John, I do have a couple reports to share. And don't feel like that you need to get off of the hail core here. I can just share them over this quick. But we do have some large trees down, and actually one report in Robbinsdale, Hennepin County. It looks like there are trees and branches on the north side of Crystal Lake that are blocking roads, and the power is also out there. So that's an important thing to mention. With this wind damage, we will have not just some branches and small trees, but with the strength of the winds we've seen, we could see some large trees down. If you are out and about with this sort of rain we're seeing, you're not going to see those downed. So you want to, again, stay off the roadways, as we're not just talking about that tornado threat, hail threat, wind threat, but visibility is so low, and we do have potentially a number of trees down and debris on the roadways, which also continues to increase the already dangerous situation.
Yeah, we can see on this that northern Dakota County has seen some pretty significant hail, anywhere between 1 to 2 inches in hail. So that would be quarter size to golf ball size hail has fallen across a good portion of northern Dakota County, including Inver Grove Heights and Sunfish Lake and Mendota Heights, and then up to about South St. Paul. I did see some more tree damage, Ren, that's being reported in the Elk River area as well. I don't think any of this is of surprise because we had those winds of 60 to 80 miles per hour move through that area. And I think it's dark out, so it's going to be hard to get a lot of reports here.
Right.
But we know that there's going to be all kinds of tree damage, I think, all over the North Metro and South Metro as well.
I have another one from a spotter 2 miles west of Blaine, and that says that a large pine tree is down there. It's uprooted and laying in the road with large branches down in neighboring yards due to straight line winds. And currently, again, it's not safe to go out and measure the diameter, but you can kind of get the idea that we're not just talking about some branches on the roadways. We're likely talking about a number of uprooted larger trees as well.
Yeah, we're seeing on radar here really fierce winds going through the Forest Lake area right now. Again, the radar is showing that they might be 75 miles per hour as they're coming through Forest Lake. And then
We
also
can look at that too, John, if we
high
clear
wind.
this hail, the hail size, and I can point out some of
Oh, sure.
those stronger winds for you as well.
Sometimes you forget you're on TV live and you start doing something else.
All right. No, it's all right. It's all right. Okay, so we can zoom out a little bit, and yeah, there we go. And John was also pointing or discussing that Boeing segment to just the west of Forest Lake, likely dealing with damaging winds, tracking farther northeastward to Forest Lake. Lindstrom, you're not far off from that. This is going to cross over Highway 8 towards Balsam Lake. Hudson, just about to see some stronger winds here too. But again, that Boeing segment, that's what John just queried. Here's a timeline for some of the strongest winds within already strong winds across this segment or this system. Again, that's tracking farther northeastward. And there are a number of sections where this is Boeing, but you can see that here. Chisago City, about 9:02. Lindstrom, closer to 9:05. Franconia, 9:15 to 9:17. Again, the exact minute isn't what to focus on. You want to be looking at approximately when you need to seek shelter, and if you're in these areas, that time would be now. We are going to continue to see this overall track northeastward rather quickly. Like John and I have been mentioning, we have at least another 45 minutes or so to get all of the severe weather through the metro, including the southeast and eastern metro. And then past that point in time, things will be quiet overnight. So this moves through pretty quickly for us, but we still have pretty widespread severe storms.
Right. What we'll be dealing with is once the storms, the severe part is passed, we'll probably see a threat for flash flooding here, and that'll continue for even 6 to 12 hours after the storms have gone through. So if you live in flood-prone areas, creeks, small rivers that do flood, that is certainly going to be a high possibility here in the overnight hours with these storms, as they've put down anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rain. And the worst of the storms now are mainly east of the Mississippi River.
Yep.
So we're getting into an area here that's just going to be a lot of rain and lightning, but the high wind threat is getting now, again, east of the Mississippi River. The tornado and wind threat here is blowing out into our eastern suburbs. So you should see some improvement if you're west of downtown Minneapolis, but you'll see the weather continuing to get worse if you're east of downtown St. Paul over towards Stillwater and Hudson. Over the next 20 minutes, it will continue to get worse in those areas as far as the wind and that potential for tornadoes and high wind damage of 70 miles per hour or more.
So Washington County, you haven't gotten through it all, and you can see as John throws on some of these watches and warnings in place here, warnings predominantly, we do now have severe thunderstorm warnings across the East Metro into west central Wisconsin, as we're now at that point where attention's going to turn over to Washington County, Chisago County, eastern Anoka County, eastern Isanti County, and all of our west central Wisconsin counties, St. Croix, Polk, and Pierce, all under severe thunderstorm warnings right now. As again, John mentioned, the worst of that's already through the West Metro, and now we're focused on the East Metro. John's showing some hail moving in to parts of Dakota County, northern Goodhue County. You're in it as well. A lot of the larger hail currently to the southeast of the Metro, down to Northfield as well, entering southern Washington County. And at this point, it looks like the tornado warnings, John, am I correct that they have expired? Can you zoom out?
The tornado warnings have expired for the Twin Cities. However, I just want to take you down to the south here. There's a pretty good signature on the radar of a possible tornado moving toward Waseca, and I'll draw this out for you. You can see this actually curling right here. Waseca is a town of about 12,000 people, and this is just outside of Waseca here. And so this may be moving into your city limits just about in the next few minutes here. So this could be a serious tornado here. I don't have any damage reports, but radar is indicating rotation. You can see the rotation on that as that storm is curling as it's moving into the Waseca area,
And that's
which is
that
currently
curl
under
he's
that tornado
mentioning.
warning.
And that is also tracking farther northeastward at 50 miles per hour. It's 16 miles west of Owatonna.
Yeah, that's the other concern too, Ren, is that's going to cross I-35 and be in the Owatonna area, which is about 25,000 people, so a little bigger area.
It looks like they just shaved. Did they just shave off the southern edge of that warning?
Correct.
And so they might extend now a little bit further northeast.
They're in the area of the rotation that I was just circling, which is just southwest of Waseca here, probably
So
moving
some extension.
into that city right now, and that's the area that they're leaving the tornado warning up and expecting it to go into northern Waseca County and maybe a little west of Owatonna, but Faribault, watch out, this could be heading your way here as it continues to move to the east-northeast.
And John, can we zoom out again to show all the warnings that are now in place across most of the metro and especially the East Metro?
Yeah.
If we can just zoom out.
I'll put the radar back on, but just show you.
Thank you.
We're all in severe thunderstorm warnings now, extending all the way up to Grantsburg, Wisconsin as well.
Yeah, Burnett County, Southern Pine, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning right now as well. These are now extending up till 9:45, and that really is the late end of things. Once we get past that, we're starting to see this enter central Wisconsin, which is starting to not be our viewing area. But looking at overall heavy rainfall across the East Metro, I did want to note too, John was showcasing the center of things here and some of that rotation. The northern edge, still certainly severe weather. But we've been saying through tonight that a lot of central and southern Minnesota into west central Wisconsin, especially Pierce County and southern St. Croix and southward, that's where a lot of the best instability is for some rotation. And I expect that to continue. So while of course we could see some rotation on the northern edge here too, that's entering towards Polk County, Chisago County, northern Washington County, our best chance for rotation and the area I'm most concerned about right now will continue to be the southeast metro, even into far southwestern Wisconsin. That's where we have slightly more favorable dynamics to see a few more tornadoes. So that tornado threat in the next half hour or so could shift predominantly south of the metro, John.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Ren. That's what it looks like. I think this tornado around Waseca, it's radar indicated, but this may be of concern here because it is moving into the town of Waseca. And when you look at the observations down there, they have an inflow wind from the southwest over 40 miles per hour feeding into that storm, hitting southeast winds at about 30 miles per hour. So it's a tremendous amount of shear for that storm that is moving into Waseca as we speak.
And John, I think we're looking at Paul with some updates as well. Is that right, Paul?
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to show you guys some of the damage reports that we're getting and some of the video that we've gotten. So this is some hail that's coming down in Egan, and you can see here that this looks like it's a little bigger than quarter-size hail falling on a person's deck right there and on their patio furniture. So you can see this is in Egan. Also in Minneapolis, we had heavy rain, lightning, all associated with this system. So we are getting some reports of some trees that are down and some damages like that. Also, I am just looking here. If you guys at home are finding damage and you can safely take some video, some pictures of us, share it with it where you are and share it with us. You can send us your video at news@kstp.com. Let's go out to our live drive right now. You can see here some of the rain that is coming down, and this looks like it's over in St. Paul, just passing Fairview Avenue. And we've had reports of power outages. Guys, I heard from a friend in Lowry Hill. She told me the power is out over there, but I'm looking at cameras actually from my house on the west side of downtown Minneapolis. Looks like just regular rain right there, and Kevin Dorn is here with me. And Kevin, when it comes to power outages, I said 40,000 just about 10 minutes ago, and that's changed.
According to the Xcel Energy outage map, now there's close to 66,000 customers without power, most of those, again, in the metro. And you can see here in St. Paul, it appears that we aren't seeing any hail there, but there are reports of large hail, anywhere from an inch to an inch and a half in diameter, all the way from Egan up to Anoka.
I've got one report to add to that, Kev. You're exactly right. I do just have a report that just came in from Shakopee, Scott County, of egg-sized hail. So that's 2-inch diameter.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've seen some large hail as well. At this point, the tornado warnings that were in place for the metro, at least for Anoka County and Ramsey, that's been canceled, as well as for Dakota. So we just have the singular tornado warning towards Waseca, and that's in place till 9:15. That is radar indicated. We're definitely going to continue coverage here onto 45 TV, and if we do have much in the way of rotation, enter the East Metro, specifically Washington County, Dakota County, as well as St. Croix, Pierce, and Polk. We'll definitely continue to do team coverage and some wall-to-wall coverage, but at this point, we're transitioning into predominantly a wind threat. Now, it doesn't mean, like we've been saying all night, doesn't mean that we couldn't see some spin-ups along this system. We certainly could, but we're predominantly looking at a wind threat here. Winds of about 60 to even 80 miles per hour possible, and that's why we have widespread severe thunderstorm warnings along and east of this system that continues to track farther eastward. The overall track being more of a northeastward track at about 50 miles per hour. You can see all of those severe thunderstorm warnings in place. John zooming out to showcase that tornado warning in place, and we're going to send it on over to 45 TV as we continue to track this system and another round of severe weather as we head into your Thursday night forecast as well. So all those details coming up here later tonight, and of course we'll continue to cut in as this evolves if there are any issues or continuing tornado warnings in place for us. And thanks for watching.